I welcome you to episode 2 of Grief Support Series. In this series, I will be sharing stories from my own life and grief experiences. Through this series, I aim and intend to let you know you're not alone. Today's title, Hesitant to Seek Help, is an experience that I want to share about my own self and how, when I was hesitant to seek help, the various losses I had to encounter. So, way back in 1998, I was a teenager, almost 17 years old, and in my high school. One weekend, my maternal uncle, who I just met the other day, and we had a hearty laugh, he died due to sudden cardiac arrest. To me, it was not just a personal loss, but a very traumatic experience. Because as I was growing up, this was one of a very close encounter with death that I happened to experience. Just as a young adult, I was experiencing life and the many changes it was bringing. An encounter like a personal loss was something that confused me to a very large extent. It impacted me everywhere. And while rest of my other friends were busy planning their next career move, I was struggling with a lot of mind chatter, depression, frustration, and lack of confidence. This thing stayed stuck with me for many years, even though I happened to get into good jobs and I fairly did well even at workplace. There were times where I could have had realized my full potential if not for this low confidence about my own potential and about my own skills and talent. I did not realize this. It took me a while, almost when I was by the age of 28. And one day, while reflecting in my journal and having not been selected in the recent interviews, this made me think about if I could seek help. And then I went back and connected with my mentor, who suggested that I should hire a coach for the current issue that I was going through. So while I looked for a coach and I was in search of one, there were times where when I sat back and reflected of the many things that I missed out and my hesitancy of not hiring a coach. Friends, I basically want to share this with you because we all in our life, there are times where we refuse to seek help, not because we are acting out of arrogance, but because either we are so held up in our assumptions the way I was, thinking that how would a stranger help me? I was assuming that coaches are usually expensive and I might not be able to afford one. Then there were times I also thought, why should I share my secrets with a stranger? And there were a lot more. But to cut the long story short, my assumptions were something that always held me back from seeking help. And then when I had lost on many things, many good job opportunities, flunked many interviews, not really was performing at par, is only when I realized that if I had hired a coach, I wouldn't have had to go through all of these. And it was just my hesitancy, just my own assumptions that had stopped me. So when I reflected back to the journal and also with my mentor, is only when I realized that what exactly was stopping me. And I found that actually in reality, there was no valid or any real genuine reason that I was not hiring a coach. But the time has now gone by. I was almost now had crossed 30 and there were many things both at personal and work front space which I had missed out. The only reality I was left with was that I cannot turn the wheels of time. But what best I could do is not to waste any further, get a coach for myself, and try to seek help so that going forward I don't really miss out on whatever is left. I close this episode by asking and leaving you all with a question. Does any of my assumptions resonate with you? Are you also hesitant, thinking that hiring a coach is an expensive affair? Or why should I share my story with a stranger? Will it be confidential? Or thinking, I know myself very well. Who else can know me more than myself? If any of these assumptions resonate with you, think again, because I don't want you to lose out what I did. Thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.